Hello, everyone. I'm Suzie Williford, and welcome to my conversation. We are so excited about this brand new series, which will be streaming on a monthly basis. We'll be engaging some of the best, the brightest, and the most interesting minds and talents in our industry. We hope it'll be informative and inspiring, insightful, and really, I just hope it'll be fun. Today, my guest is Matthew Quinn. Matthew is an award-winning designer, an author, two books on interior design, and actually he sent me this book and it's absolutely fabulous. Anybody wants inspiration, you should have this book. He's also a dealer and an entrepreneur. He's the principal of the Atlanta-based Design Galleria, which opened this year in Nashville, the second location. He was named KBB Magazine's very first Person of the Year in 2019. So let's get started. You ready, Matthew?
I'm ready. Hello.
All right. Hello. So glad you joined me. This is great. You are my, inaugural guest. And
Wow.
I couldn't think of anybody better to have in.
Well, thank
so,
you.
Matthew, you grew up in Florida.
Yes.
Every summer, you and your family would renovate a house, which gave you this fundamental exposure to the building and the renovation process. Sounds like it would be a great stepping stone to the business that you're in today, but I understand that your parents wanted you to be a doctor. What happened to that plan?
Well, really, it was my grandparents that were pushing me to be a doctor. They honestly, I think it's a generational thing. They just didn't understand what the design industry gave to, civilization as a whole. They just didn't quite get it as much as I tried. So they really, really pushed me to become a doctor. So I went through University of Florida. I have a degree in chemistry. And after about 6 days of medical school here in Atlanta at Emory, I finally had the realization that I was going to spend the next 8 years being absolutely miserable, learning to be a doctor, and I needed to change my life, honestly, completely 180 degrees.
How'd they take it?
They unfortunately passed, still not quite understanding. They were happy because I was happy and successful, but they would much rather that I had been a doctor.
That's funny how life goes.
Right.
So then, how did you move your business from design to retail, and what motivated you to do so?
Well, I mean, I didn't really move to retail. I just kind of added that to part of my portfolio of businesses. So I was in design school here in Atlanta and took a position as a draftsman, an entry-level draftsman at Design Galleria Kitchen and Bath Studio. And it was my very first class in design. It was learning CAD, well, actually learning how to draft, because remember, we're talking about 28 years ago. Learning how to draft. I took a position here and I didn't expect to, but I fell in love with kitchen and bath design. So as soon as school was over, I started working here full-time and eventually purchased the business.
Wow. Now that's a real story. How did you take your business to the next level, from what it was when you first began there as an employee to what it is now? It's an amazing success story.
Well, thanks. I mean, no one can tell you work very hard. You work very long hours. I mean, yes, everybody says work smarter. I mean, I do work smarter, but I just work more hours working smarter. So, I mean, it's hours, hours, hours. It's being totally honest. It's, obeying the golden rule, which my father has, instilled in me. It is surrounding yourself with people that you like, but also people that you can learn from, and people that are better at things that maybe you consider a weakness. And then I think a lot of it is just, kind of trusting your gut. I'm in a very unusual situation where my husband of 26 years co-owns the business with me. So yeah, I mean, that brings a whole new level of challenges, and we have to have precise communication, and we have to really distinguish what his job is and my job is, so there's no overlap. And to make sure that when we leave here every day that, you know, we have a happy household. So, but honestly, I mean, yes, there's additional challenges, but the benefits so far outweigh that. Having somebody that's truly your partner here and that you can trust implicitly. But then also I have, you know, Mary Catherine Timoney. She's a designer here in the Atlanta office. She's been with us 20 years. And I learned from her. I learned salesmanship from her. I learned how to work a room, even though I hate doing it. I really just watch her work a room. And then we have David Cook and Richard Aniskevich that kind of round out the rest of our design team. And, you know, and as we know, this business is not just about design. I have a very deep and talented tech support team. I have a great marketing department. I have a great accounting department. So you need all of that to be successful. And I think, you know, I'm a huge collaborator, whether it be a collaboration here in the office or a collaboration on a project with architects, interior designers, builders. To me, there's not a single human being that can do everything perfectly. You have to collaborate to get the best result.
Absolutely. You know, I have to tell you, I wasn't aware of the fact. That's why these conversations are going to be so much fun, because you find out things that you didn't know about people. I had no idea that you worked with your husband. That is, yes, it's a wonderful thing because it is the person you trust most in the world, but being able to leave it in the office and still have a great home life, that's quite a talent. And it shows a unbelievable amount of respect that you have for each other. And that's very cool. You know, you just mentioned a couple of minutes ago that you've hired Richard Aniskevich, or I call him Richard A to Z, in Nashville. And Richard was in our inaugural class of 2013 of our 30 under 30s. And I knew when I first met him back in 2013 that he was a special guy. And since he was a 30s, his career has just catapulted. Richard's extremely talented. Tell us what about Richard. What does he bring to the table for you? What attracted you? And did it even matter that he was recognized as a 30 under 30?
No, of course. I think that's incredibly important and a great honor for him. But I mean, Richard and I, for sure, we share the same love and passion for design. Richard, all of our designers, we all have a different point of view. We approach design a little bit differently, but I think what's unique about Design Galleria is even though there's 4 designers here, we all have an attention to detail that is consistent amongst all of our projects. Richard, I feel, has a little more flair with his projects, a little more glitz, a little bit more glamour, and then sprinkled in with a little bit of kind of unexpected. So, you know, I think what kind of the icing on the cake with him is he did a booth for Lee Bear. I don't remember which KBIS that was, but I was incredibly impressed with that booth. And that's kind of when I first met him, approached him, and kind of just talked to him about, you know, what are your lifetime goals?
I've not told him this because I haven't talked to him since the pandemic, but I just redid my kitchen, which I told you, and there was a kitchen that Richard did that I kind of used parts of it as my inspo picture, because I like a little glitz too. So we have that in common. So tell me, why did you pick Nashville as the next location?
Well, you know, we've been doing business in Nashville for over 20 years. It's a beautiful 3.5-hour drive from Atlanta. The people there in general are so kind. They love their homes. It's a little eclectic, like you can't pin it like you can in Atlanta. There's a lot of transplants there, a lot of California. So it's kind of eclectic in its style, which makes it a little fun. Even the architecture is very eclectic. And we love the people there. And Richard, I feel like, is perfect for that market. But, you know, 15 years ago, we wanted to open a showroom there, and we had a lease in a building, and that building got stuck in the recession. So that building never got built. And 3 years ago, we decided, you know what, let's kind of look at this again. Let's look at opening another store there because it's just such a great market for us and it's so close. So we went up there looking for just a small, 1,000, 2,000 square foot studio, and we bought a 50,000 square foot mop factory. And we basically Nashville does not have a design center. So we turned that into the Nashville Design Collective. We built it out, built 14 showrooms, and now we're in this gorgeous design center with all these other amazing companies.
Yeah. Wow. I'm really looking forward to coming to see it. Just as soon as we can go somewhere again. So Nashville, Atlanta, two great cities. You have any other cities in your radar for the future?
We do. That's kind of in the future. I would love to find another city that kind of hits that mark. It's, a city that maybe has a discombobulated design stores all over the place. It has a market big enough, people that love their homes, but not a big city. So yeah, to go in and do this kind of boutique design center with 12 to 15 showrooms. I loved developing the Nashville Design Collective. I'd love to do it again somewhere else.
Oh, that's great. I love the fact that it's not the huge city thing. I mean, I live right outside of Houston, and of course we have a great design center.
Right.
You can find everything, but when you go somewhere like Nashville or maybe Indianapolis or some of these smaller, really up and coming cities, it's a great opportunity for you, but it's also a great service to the city. And I
100%.
think that's really cool.
Yeah.
So on a less fun subject, we've all been through so much this year. 2020 is the year that just keeps on giving, all of us have learned from the pandemic. I think. What have you learned from this pandemic, both personally and professionally?
Well, Rick and I purchased the business in 2002, and we held, a very large note to pay that off. So there were many years where we were really penny pitching to make it work. Still expanding, investing back in the business, but really kind of keeping costs at bay. And then the recession hit, and it was almost like the stress kind of started all over again. Luckily, we had a few large multifamily projects that kind of got us through there. And now, here we are in the pandemic. And I think it's a different kind of stress. Luckily, Rick and our CPA on staff, Lou, are really conservative, like super conservative. So fiscally, this hasn't been as much of it hasn't hurt us as badly. But emotionally, this pandemic has an emotional impact. Every single person reacts differently to this virus, and there's health and safety involved, which is something that, they don't teach you that in design school. It's something that has to be intuitive to us. So trying to understand why someone is really, really against and is so scared, and dealing with that, that amount of being scared, it's tough. I certainly have never had to be a leader as much as I had to be a leader now with my team. I've got 36 people that I need to keep safe. I need to keep a job. And it's a lot of responsibility. And sure, I have to appear as if I'm very strong and understand everything, even though I may be just as scared inside. So we're gonna get through it. I know that, but it's it's a tough time for business owners.
It is, and I think we're in the 9th month of this that we all thought would be, I don't know, much quicker than it is, and the disconnect that you don't get to be with the people that you want to be with. I say I'll never again complain about getting on an airplane and having to go to a meeting. I will do it graciously. And at 5 o'clock on Friday night, when I have to walk 20 minutes to get my suitcase in George Bush, I'll be honored to do so. I miss the people so much. And we have 42 people, and we have our weekly meetings where I get so excited just to see everybody's face,
Right.
Because it's kind of like Groundhog Day. I mean, every day you get up, you do the same thing, you're on Zoom, But now you're dealing with clients that are re-looking at their homes, and they're realizing that things need to be changed. And I think all of us have taken a whole new look at how we live and how we entertain and how much we appreciate our family and the people that we can be around.
Right.
So, I think a lot of things have influenced how we go about our lives, which is bound to influence the way you look at design. And you say you're influenced by all facets of design, including fashion, jewelry, product design, and more. How and what is the relationship of all of these, and what typically comes first in your mind when you're looking at other things, the trends in apparel fashion or the trends in home fashion? What drives you?
I would say apparel fashion, I think it changes too quickly. So
Uh,
I don't think there's a significant shift change when it comes to interior design, when it comes to apparel. However, there's sometimes a theme with fashion design. So maybe there's a trim or a color or a pattern or a metal finish or something like that that may show up in interior design. But what I typically do in fashion is maybe there's something that sticks, a classic, a staple, something that's more timeless, like, I mean, a little black dress, similar to what you have on, something like that. That kind of thing sticks. And I think we can use that to kind of influence interior design. I focus more on hotel design. That's what influences me. That's what influences my clients.
wow.
And hotel design is incredibly important because it's something relatable, relevant. My clients are touching, feeling, and experiencing it every day. And, it's great because what's the best way to be influenced by that is by staying in those hotels or having dinner or a drink in those hotels and experience that myself. So I consider that the most influential as far as my design goes.
That is very interesting to me because I've never really heard that or thought about that. But I cannot tell you how many times I have taken pictures in a hotel and brought those pictures back and, either looked for that particular product or painted a room that particular color, or just that's very interesting you would say that, because some of the prettiest settings. I remember one time we had a board of directors meeting in this room that was so beautiful that I came back and kind of redid my living room to look like that boardroom. So
Sure.
that's interesting. One question kind of off topic here. What color is your ceiling?
In where I am?
Where you are right now?
Oh, it's black. Yeah, black
I
ceiling.
love that. So dramatic.
Yeah,
So
the kitchens in the book has a black ceiling, actually.
yeah, I saw that. That's fabulous. And talking about your books, you've written. I have one. I have the volume
Second,
2. I think it is, right?
correct.
Yeah, volume 2. Um, volume 1 and volume 2. Both are coffee table books. Both are this big. What did you learn from writing these 2 informative books?
Well, I mean, I think what I wanted to do is I wanted to illustrate that you can have an absolutely stunning, beautiful, unique custom space, but first and foremost, it functions. So that I always approach function first. So these spaces work well, but also are beautiful. I also wanted to show that, kitchen design is not a formula. You don't just kind of rinse and repeat. And even in the finishes, the colors, the metals, all that. When I look through that book, what I see the personalities of my clients. I see their favorite boardroom, their favorite hotel room, their favorite destination. I see details of maybe their favorite car that they drive. Like, that's what I see when I see those kitchens. I don't really see this same math. This is a Matthew kitchen. It's the same. It's got the same this. It's got the same that. It's got the same this. I see my clients. And hey, creating books is producing these books is incredibly expensive, but I wanted to do it my way. We started working with the publisher, and they took many decisions that I considered critical decisions away from me and said that they had my best interest, and they did not. So we took that away from them. We self-published these books. It was very expensive, but hugely successful. So it has really kind of just really opened me up to all kinds of amazing projects.
How long does it take to do these books?
Well, the first one, volume 1, which interesting enough is 1 inch wider and longer than the one that you have in your hand. So, and I purposely put volume 1 on it to tell my team that I want a second and a third book. So I put volume 1 on there on purpose. So that book, we made a decision. We're going to self-publish this. We actually produced that book in 6 months, which is easy. So I told my team on the second book that I would give them a year and a half because it would just about kill them to do it in 6 months. So we did that one in a year and a half. And now we're, I have this amazing idea for volume 3, which will be 1 inch smaller, longer, and wider than what you have. And
well, this one is 357 pages.
Yes. So the third volume 3 is a book concept that has never been done before in an interior design book. So I'm super excited about that. So I told my team because of that, I'll need another couple of years to kind of get that one done.
There you go. Yeah, you don't want to run everybody off with your crazy demands. Sometimes we have these ideas and we say to everybody, oh, this is my idea and I want it done in X amount of time, and everybody just stops, Right. So this has been extremely interesting and a lot of fun. And I like and plan to do a lightning round, quick questions, quick answers, no explanations, just off the top of your head. Are you ready?
Sure.
What was your last Instagram post?
From the brand new one and only resort in Puerto Vallarta last week.
Nice. What design trend or element do you wish would go away forever?
Trash compactors.
This is fun.
Or ice and water through the door.
Or what?
Ice and water through the door.
Oh, yeah, right. What's the coolest innovation you found at KBIS last year?
There was a porcelain top company called Level that I loved, and a metal door company called Iconi that I loved.
Cool. That's like, being a kid in a candy store.
Oh, for sure.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
What's the little black dress of interior design?
I'm going to say it's integrated appliances. I use them all the time. They just disappear into the setting. They're classic. They just become the kitchen. Probably a stainless steel sink. Those two I think are timeless.
What defines modern luxury to you?
I would say, luxury to me is being healthy and having time. So I would say it's time saving, it's easy to use or easy to live in, and it's customized for me.
What's your go-to storage trick?
Ooh, I have so many. I would say every base cabinet needs to either have drawers or pullouts. I love those kidney corner, miracle corner, whatever you want to call them. And then I do a lot of these walk-in pantries that use a blind corner in a kitchen next to a refrigerator, ovens or something.
My out of everything I did in my kitchen, I'm in the over 50 club, and I had so many wonderful things were stuck in the back of the cabinet, and everything from the countertop down is drawers. And oh my gosh, that has been a lifesaver for me.
Why would you not do that? Right.
Yeah, it's easy. Now I'm using all kinds of pretty things I forgot I had. What's your favorite period of architecture?
That's, I love Greek Revival, but a more modern version of it. So probably modern Greek Revival.
Favorite city?
Paris.
Favorite design philosophy in 25 words or less?
I would say, it's been this way since, since I've been doing this, is simplicity is the ultimate sophistication.
What's the last book you read or listened to?
I'm reading 2 right now. One of them is from my client, Mike Levin. He just wrote a book called Can't Do It Yourself. So it's all about, having a great team. Right. And kind of contradictory to that, I'm also reading, so maybe multiple personality situation here. The other book I'm reading right now is The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F.
Right. That's a fun book.
Yes.
I read that book. Orlando or Vegas?
Vegas for sure.
What gets your juices flowing as a designer?
Travel, 100%. Travel, travel, travel.
What's your favorite color for a kitchen or for a bath?
I mean, I love teal. Quintessential teal is kind of my thing. So teal and brass, I'd say, or maybe black and polished stainless steel for a kitchen. And then for a bathroom, probably like a really light taupe color with polished nickel.
Is the kitchen triangle still relevant?
Yes and no. I mean, I think it needs to be modernized, but to a degree.
What's the next smart home technology you want for your own home?
Oh, I would love to have voice activated lighting. But I tell you, I think the day this airs, I turned 50. And 2 weeks ago, I bought myself my own 50th birthday gift. I've been asking Santa for many years for a Miele rotary iron because I love like crisp napkins and iron sheets. So I got it last week and I spent an entire day just ironing through that thing. It was like heaven.
Good.
So
Good for you and happy 50th. That's just
Thank you.
That's awesome. What profession other than your own would you like to or you would have wanted to pursue, if any?
I mean, a travel editor sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm.
A photographer. On my bucket list, I want to learn kite surfing, so maybe a kite surfing instructor.
Wow. Travel editor, I could do. Kite surfing, probably not. Do you have any regrets?
I mean, what's the point, right?
Yeah.
No.
What's the best advice you've received?
Finish like you started and take the time to fill the well.
So you've obviously, I mean, everybody that knows you know you're probably one of the more successful designers in the industry, and you're well thought of, you're liked, you're respected. What's the best advice you can give to any aspiring kitchen and bath professional?
I would say learn to cook or know your way around the kitchen. Because I think if you don't learn function, it's going to bite you in the butt later. So you don't have to love to cook, but know how to cook. Know what it takes to put together a meal. Photograph your work. If you can travel. And I tell students all the time, you don't have to stay at the Ritz-Carlton, but just go walk the Ritz-Carlton or go have a drink at the bar. You don't have to buy a $300 dinner, but go have a $15 drink at the bar to experience it. Ask the concierge to see a room. They'll show you a room. Like as I said, hotel design influences me the most. So go to those hotels. If you go to a city and there are 4 amazing hotels and you're there for 2 nights, make sure to go see all those. You don't have to stay there, but just go see them and experience it. And then, trust your gut, learn from, just be open to learning everything. Be a sponge.
That is great advice. I think that knowing how to cook, that makes the most sense. And to go see all those wonderful places and just catalog that. And the taking picture part, obviously you bought into that because you couldn't just come up with 357 pages worth of pictures to create a book. But also, how do you create a great portfolio? Is you just take pictures of everything you've done,
Right.
Because you just never know what's going to turn somebody on. Mm-hmm. Matthew, I cannot thank you enough for your time. This is a great chat, and best of luck with the latest venture in Nashville and with all that's to come. It's been a real pleasure having you here. Thank you. And I thank everyone for joining me. I hope you'll be back next month as I welcome the remarkable editor-in-chief of Interior Design Magazine, Cindy Allen, for some reflections on 2020 in another conversation with Suzie Williford. Don't forget, KBIS 2021 registration is going to open December the 7th. It's going to be a spectacular virtual experience, very different, but it will be wonderful. And I wish all of you a very happy, very healthy, and safe Thanksgiving. Bye for now.
Bye.